Well. We back on another crazy episode of the Browns preview here on the Barbershop Network. G. Bush in the building, John Kosko in the building. I'm going to tell you what, we usually do a lot of moving around and going all around the league and the AFC and doing all that. And we're going to tell you right now, if you're watching this video, we ain't no games. We right to it. We about to get to this Texans, and we're going to get right to the Bears because there's a lot of stuff going on with the Cleveland Browns. John, your thoughts, first of all, of what's going on and a lot of stuff moving around with the Cleveland Browns. We got injuries, we got the defense, we got OBJ possibly coming back, Baker's shoulder. What's your thoughts going into before we go ahead and start getting into this show?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing would be Baker's shoulder. If Baker is healthy and ready to go for this game, that gives the Browns the best chance of winning this game coming up. If he can't be, think about it in the first, before the interception happened, he was averaging over 8 yards per depth of target on each of his throws. And then as soon as he came back from his injury, it was at 2 yards depth of target. So he became a check down screen game. I'm not even testing it down the field at all type quarterback after that point. Didn't really need to. They still had to kind of handle the game, but he was clearly hurt. So I think for Baker, if he can go and throw the ball down the field, that's the way they obviously can win this game. Because if he can't throw it down the field, then I don't even think he should be out there, because they can't win this game by throwing 5-yard hitches and screen passes and running the ball only against this team. So regardless if OBJ is back in this game or not, you better hope that he is and that Baker can stretch the field. Yeah,
listen, we'll talk about that getting into the Chicago Bears. Hey, they're no joke. Justin Fields got his first game coming back, first game as a pro coming up. Baker Mayfield, like we said, we'll talk about that, what the game plan looks like moving forward. But first, let's get to unpacking the Texans game. This was a strange game, man. You got Tyrod Taylor who comes back. He ended up leaving the game. I didn't even really realize that Tyrod Taylor was hurt until they start rewinding some of the game clips, and you kind of see him pull up with the hamstring. But I told people like this, man, I was hot after the game. And a lot of people was like, oh, well, we won. And, and I said, that's important, right? You got to get the win. But at the end of the day, if the Browns want to go where the Browns need to go and they think they're going to be a Super Bowl caliber team, they have to shore this defense up. Tyrod Taylor was 10 for 10. He was throwing the ball where he wanted to. He had all day in the pocket. When he didn't have anybody open, he was tucking and running. If Tyrod Taylor's still in that game, they lose that game. I'm gonna just be honest with you, man. And that game, you see Jarvis Landry go out, you see Baker Mayfield get a shoulder hit, and it was so reminiscent of those games where the windy football games with the Raiders, the nasty, ugly, terrible weather with the Eagles, the Washington Redskins last year, the Indianapolis Colts. Those were the nasty games where, the Browns weren't playing the best offensive football, but they found a way to stay in some of those games and win them. The Browns won this game here, but, moving forward, they're not going to be able to play many games like that and can come out a win. What was your takeaway from this game and what was going on with the Tyrod Taylor and how he was so dominant in the first, couple series of the game?
Yeah, part of it is I think the Browns have an issue with pass rush lane integrity. So especially against a mobile quarterback, when you're rushing that guy, you have to always be aware that he's going to be running it as well. And you look at the touchdown run that Tyrod Taylor had, big part of it, they had a 5-man rush, but Myles Garrett was supposed to be rushing in the B gap. He tried stunting into the A gap to try to get by his guy, got caught up inside. Tyrod saw that and went right for that B gap and was, basically walked into the end zone, like literally walked into the end zone because he pulled his hammy on that play. So I think that's part of the issue that the Browns have always had with mobile quarterbacks is they don't keep this rush lane integrity. So with Justin Fields, like, he's a better athlete than Tyrod Taylor. You have to be able to do that, and you're going to have to do things against him that the Browns just haven't shown much of so far this year, which is doing a lot of zone blitzes, and we'll get into that. But from the Texans standpoint, Tyrod Taylor, they didn't get hardly any pressure on him. Myles Garrett was getting blocked up. He got zero pressures in this game, and he was just able to really kind of pick and choose and find an open guy. And if you can't get pressure on the guy, and maybe you're having some busts in the secondary, there's a couple of situations with John Johnson being out of position.
Mm-hmm.
that was, it's kind of what it is. And he's a good enough quarterback in this league to kind of pick that apart. Justin Fields isn't quite that, but he's got more athleticism and is a different type of mobile athlete.
Yeah, listen. He has a stronger arm. He's bigger. He's not going to go down. And on top of that, he's going to be more apt to pull it down quick. He ain't looking downfield. If his first read ain't there, he's going to take that thing down and run. And we'll talk about what he's doing with the Bears. One of the things that we talk about, and my thing with the whole overall game plan is this. I've always said this. Yeah, that's fine. If you're going to have a philosophy against the top echelon players, if it's going to be against a Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, if that's your game plan, well, we don't want to give up nothing deep because they can scramble around, find guys, you guys get confusion in the back end and they can score. Great. If that's that against MVP caliber guys, you may have a little bit to stand on. But when you talk about it's Tyrod Taylor, and then he goes out of the game, and then Davis guy comes in the game, and then all of a sudden it's still letting them sit back there and hang out for 15, 20 minutes. I mean, he walked up and down the field too. What is, the thought process is, and I asked you this a little bit on the last, in the last preview show, for what it's worth, this isn't, Joe Woods' first go around. He's been a coordinator in this league. He's shown that he will bring pressure. What the heck happened between then and now where it's just hands off? We can't, whoever is behind the center, we that's not what we do. When did this become his philosophy?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think last year made him be a little bit different of a defensive coordinator than he was when he was with the Broncos. When he was with the Broncos, he was one of the most blitz heavy guys. So I'm wondering if it was hey, I'm still trying to figure out what do my guys do best, and I'm trying to adjust my scheme to this, because they're starting up like half a dozen new guys on this team. So is it him trying to figure out, hey, can we play a scheme where I can only have to rush 4, get enough pressure on the quarterback, and we just play coverage? Maybe that's what the ideal is, but maybe your team isn't good enough, or maybe that isn't what you want. Maybe that's going to be able to stop these guys. So I think maybe part of it is hey, I'm figuring this out. I'm feeling this out. Look at it last year with Kevin Stefanski in the offense. It took them 6 games to kind of really get a feel for, hey, what does Baker like to run? What types of schemes does he like? What formations does he like? What is he, in this situation, how does that communication go? So like it took a little bit before Baker Mayfield really got going and this offense really got going. Maybe we'll kind of see the same thing. I kind of anticipated this, that the defense wouldn't look great for the first, 4-6 weeks of the season. And I know that, that maybe the parts that are looking bad are the ones that you'd expect not to be bad. So I get it. Like, to me, it's like, hey, maybe there was a little bit of there's a different scheme that they were going on with this past game than they did against the Chiefs. They ran dime defense in this one. 19 plays versus just 4 times against the Chiefs. So, maybe they're trying to figure stuff out.
Well, here's the thing, man. I'm going to let you know, Joe Woods, listen, there's nothing to figure out here. This is a guy who's not playing the game yet. There's no film on him. There's no, we're going to get beat deep. There's no, hey, this guy can really hurt us. Listen, this guy is a rookie quarterback. And I went back and I told you before when we were off there, I went back and watched him against Indiana, not Michigan, not Alabama. I watched him against Indiana, and he was confused at some of the looks they gave him. They were like, where's this guy coming from? You cannot let any quarterback, I don't care who they are, third stringer, practice squad guys, they will torch you if you give them comfort levels and let them have a clean pocket. And one of the things that we'll talk about this right now. I just don't see, if he's going to sit in coverage, at least rotate the coverage. I'm not even seeing the coverage rotating pre-snap. Like, if you give a guy 2 different looks, if you're not going to bring anybody, just run to, I did see him run a couple little twists and texts and stuff, but the coverage, the shifts in coverage aren't even there. The disguising, and it's just not there. I don't know.
Yeah. My philosophy on defense would be to never give the quarterback a look pre-snap that he is going to get post-snap. always moving those safeties around, moving guys in the secondary around, so that the
Exactly.
quarterback doesn't know what he's going to be throwing against until after you've basically declared it, which is be 2 seconds after post snap. And by that time, you're hoping, hey, pass rush is getting there, and then he has to really figure out where's the open guy then. And that you do that with zone blitz packages, you do that with stunts up front, you do that with moving guys in the secondary, rotating guys. Just it confuses the quarterback. So it's always been my philosophy to do that. You don't line up in one high and play one high. You don't line up in too high and play too high. You've got to really kind of move that around. And I think the best defenses in the NFL make it confusing for that quarterback when they do that.
Let's move to the offensive side of the football in this game. Baker Mayfield got hit. I would like to say he should stop trying. It's cringeworthy when I see quarterbacks trying to tackle guys. I know you're upset that you threw a pick, and everybody wants to be like, "Hey, I'm out there, bro. We need you for a whole season. We don't need you out here being a hero." Quarterbacks trying to tackle people. How many people have you seen get hurt doing that? I guess it's human nature. However, had the hurt shoulder, like you said earlier when we came back into it, different game plan, completely different game plan. The down the field stuff was gone. A lot of the deep drops were gone. It moved to a screen game, more of a run game. Now the Browns, fortunately, have a good enough offensive line and a couple backs to kind of run that stuff and can beat good teams with some of those schemes. But moving forward against the Bears, they're going to need that complete complement. Not only did he get hurt, I think the one big thing that we saw in this game was, I think, the heart and soul, the spark plug, the energy level. Jarvis Landry is that guy for the Browns, and I think once they saw he got hurt, it was a considerable letdown as far as the energy level goes. Those two injuries, how impactful are those moving forward for the Browns, and what needs to happen for them to continue to win games and stay into the hunt of things when they want to look to be one of those top teams in the AFC?
Basically, Baker needs to be healthy. That's the main thing, because if Baker goes down, Case Keenum's not leading this team to the playoffs. This is basically matter of fact. I think with Baker, you have, what we all hope is a top 10, top 5 quarterback in the NFL that can get you to the playoffs and beyond. You don't have that with Case Keenum. So with Baker, you have to hope that he does a better job of protecting himself if he throws an interception, and then because if his shoulder is so bad that he can't throw the ball down the field, nobody's going to respect this offense anymore. It doesn't matter how good the offensive line is and how good the running game is. And I get that Jarvis Landry is the spark plug, energy booster to this team, leader of this team. But man, if you lose a guy like that, and you saw it, you saw a considerable downturn, the brain shift went down for this team when he got hurt. The coaching staff got to do a better job of like, hey, listen, next man up. I know that Jarvis is a good player and stuff like that, but we got to get going. Like we still got a full game to play here. And it really did seem like that it took a long time for that offense to kind of get going again, which is not a good thing. And hopefully maybe OBJ coming back this week is the spark plug that the offense needs. But you really kind of, last year when OBJ went down, it was actually like it had a reverse effect where it's like, all right, next man up, let's go. And the whole offense actually performed better. So you got to kind of do the same thing with Jarvis.
Let me ask you, this just popped into my head. It just looks like, to me, the Cleveland Browns right now look like a team that is understanding what every year expectations look like. They look like, last year it's like, okay, well, hey, we're not supposed to be good. It's we didn't have an off season. It's our first year. We hear it every year, new coordinator, new system, all that good stuff. If they be 6-10, 7-9, 8-8, oh, pie in the sky. Now you go in and you beat the Steelers, right? You go beat the Steelers, and now it's like, wow, you go head to head with the Chiefs, and it's like, okay, cool. They're figuring it out like right now, like, look, man, you just in the second year of this thing, bro. Like, these teams is going to come in ready to go every single week. And to be that team at the top of the food chain, you got to be able to consistently, not rah-rah, it's about execution. That's it. Execution, not hype and in all the other locker room. No, you got to execute play to play. And we talked about some of the guys they got haven't been executing. So when you look at it, we talked about, you kind of mentioned this, OBJ is coming back. Do you need him to be special, or do you just need him to do his job? You know, this is a game. This is a game where I think it might be. To me, it's going to be a close game in the fourth quarter. And if the other receivers haven't produced, I think Baker will throw a couple up there. He's gonna give him a shot on a few of them, especially if OBJ makes a couple big plays early. I think if he makes a couple big plays early, everything open up after that. And that goes for Kevin Stefanski too. What do you think they need to see from him today or coming up this weekend?
Yeah, I think you need OBJ to kind of be a part of the offense and make plays. And if he's out there, he's going to be a guy that's going to be making plays. He's your number one wide receiver. He is the dynamic talent. I don't think you go into the game expecting him to put up like a 10, 152 touchdown stat line or anything like that. But you need him to be able to stretch the field. You need him to take attention off of, the other wide receivers, so that opens things up for those guys as well. So he's going to be a guy that he's going to be a significant part of your game plan because of the talent he is. And especially when you don't have Jarvis Landry to help complement that as well. So I would expect him to be making plays out there.
If Odell Beckham Jr. is not playing, I can't honestly go into this game. In Chicago has a good defense. They got a good defense. You got Khalil Mack on one of the edges. They're not going to give up too many big plays. Stout up there, one of the best D tackles in the game. They're not going to be giving up, no gash plays. They're going to tackle you and make you do it again a whole bunch of times. So obviously, I would like to have OBJ back. But looking at this game with the Bears, what are some specific things that the Bears do defensively that can give a team like Cleveland or the Browns problems in this game?
Yeah, they do a lot of stunting up front. They blitz a lot, so that they're, one of the things that they've actually done is putting Khalil Mack off the ball in a linebacker position and have him blitz. You expect Khalil Mack to rush the quarterback as always, but they're moving him around. He's normally just lines up on the left side, and he's coming from there, and that's usually kind of what he's done. But
what a novel thought, moving playmakers around, right?
They're getting creative with their playmakers here. And on the back end, they got Jalen Johnson, who just had the best. He was PFF's defensive player of the week this past week. He had a fantastic game against the Cincinnati Bengals. He had an interception. Roquan Smith is an excellent linebacker. He's a guy that can fly around all over the football field. And like you talked about him, Akeem Hicks, excellent defensive tackle. Robert Quinn's a solid pass rusher as well. So they've got players at every level. Eddie Jackson is another guy that in the secondary that is an excellent player too. So they have really good players at every level of the defense, and they switch things up. So they don't make it easy on anybody, the quarterback. So they does look like they might be in cover one, they might be in cover three, they might switch it into two high. It's one of the two high safety looks. So they switch things up on you defensively, and that's what makes it difficult. And they run a 3-4 base defense, which is also just another wrinkle that makes things difficult for offensive coordinators.
It's hard to run against. We used to run a 3-4 in college. It's just hard to run a 3-4 against a 3-4 man, because it's like you don't really like if you're running zone and you're trying to chip to the next level, those looks don't be really working. When you're trying to get outside on your gap plays or your outside zones, if they got a good dude that can set the edge, they blow it up. You know what I'm saying? They always seem to outflink you. It's just tough. Did
you watch the Manning cast on Monday Night Football?
Yeah.
And Peyton Manning was talking about it. It's like he always tries to get those 3-4 teams out of their base package and into their nickel packages because it's much more difficult to go against those fronts, because it's like, hey, the guards are always uncovered, and it's just like I don't know what they're doing. And even Peyton Manning is saying that. Okay, so if Peyton Manning is saying that, then it's like, all right, you're going to confuse Baker Mayfield. So Kevin Stefanski better have a good game plan to get these guys into predictable looks so that you know what they're running.
You can run cross opposite. You can wrap your two inside linebackers in the A gaps on blitzes. You can run delayed blitzes off of that. It's just It's nasty. It's real nasty. I don't like it. It's nothing's clean. It's just like overweight dudes wearing wife beaters and tank tops in the summer. It's just nasty. That back hair is out everywhere. It's that nasty, bro. Do something with that, man. On offensive side of the football too. Justin Fields, obviously, when you're looking at, I would be prepared for a little read option.
Oh,
I would
absolutely.
He's gonna get a couple of those, right? You're gonna be prepared for that. Listen, they got Montgomery, they got a nice couple of receivers. Like, they ain't crazy over the top, like we're really, really good, but they don't have, to me, any glaring issues. When you look at the offensive side of the football, what do you think is going to be, an offensive philosophy for Justin Fields and getting him comfortable against a team like the Browns and what they've shown so far?
Yeah, I think you just said it. So they're going to do a lot of zone read stuff to get him comfortable reading one guy so that he can make a right decision off the basically one read looks. They're going to run screens. They're going to run draws. They're going to make things easy for Justin Fields so that he's not being confused. And so they're going to try to, like we were talking about the Browns, they need to be running these zone blitzes. They need to be basically blitzing Justin Fields to kind of get him confused. But then on the flip side of that, from an offensive side, they're going to be running draws and screens to put you back on your heels. Because when the best thing to do against a blitz is to run a screen behind it, because you've rushed an extra or two extra guys. All of a sudden you're dumping it down behind them, so you have fewer guys behind there to stop the screen. So yeah, they're gonna. Those are the things that they're basically gonna do, and they're gonna try to make it so that they're gonna constantly stay in plus situations, so they're not in third and longs to Myles Garrett and company can pin their ears back on them. The offensive line isn't great. That probably is the weakness of their team. You look at their guards. James Daniels, he has a 48 grade and at the guard position. Their center, Sam Mustipher, Cody Whitehair, all these guys down in the 40s and 50s. So they have some issues at that position. Jason Peters is an excellent tackle if he can stay healthy.
Ain't he like 96 though?
Yeah, I know he's still a very good player. Like I'm if he's out there playing, I'm expecting Jason Peters to be doing Jason Peters things. So
right,
that David Montgomery, Allen Robinson, Marquise Goodwin, they have really solid weapons. Those are really good weapons that they have. I like their second year tight end Cole Kmet, good player there. So they have weapons so that the secondary is going to be tested again because they have the speed. Darnell Mooney is another guy who's a speedster too. So they're gonna have a good plan for Justin Fields to succeed. I think Matt Nagy is a good head coach.
And here's the thing: he's an offensive guy. Listen,
exactly.
At some point in time, man, we got to start understanding something. You gotta win. Defensive coordinators talk about this all the time. If you get a one-on-one matchup, you got to win. That's what the league is about. One-on-one on the outside, one-on-one on the inside, linebackers versus tight ends, running backs versus linebackers, corners versus – you got to win, right? So here's the thing. If you're a coach one-on-one, you got to win some of these matchups. If you cannot lose the matchup when they're already giving 2 or 3 pegs down, because they got rookies or backups playing at the most influential position in all sports, which is the quarterback position. I'm looking for more. I'm looking for more nuance. I'm looking for more out of this defense because I know they can give it up. When we go to the X factors, let's go to the X factors really quick, and we'll talk about the Browns when the Browns defensive end of the spectrum. Who is it you need to see? And when we talk about these X factors, who is it that needs to just play better? Who do you need to see to play better today against the Bears in order for the Browns to come out on top?
I want to see Donovan Peoples-Jones play better. He's had 2 catches through 2 games, had the fumble on one of them. Is one of the lowest graded guys on the Browns right now to 51.7. So from an offensive perspective, I need him to be better. And then on the defensive side, again, we said it last week. I'm going to say it again this week. John Johnson needs to be better. You brought him in as your high prized free agent. He's got a 46.6 46.4 grade so far.
Nasty.
He's a better player than that. Like he just flat out is that he's in every single year that he's played as a full season as a healthy guy, he's put up elite type grade. So I'm expecting him to be better than that.
I'm gonna go. The easy part would be, this goes without saying. You got $100 million, Myles Garrett. You need to be better. I'm not even gonna waste my graphic on you. You already know when you was playing nasty the last 2 games. I know you had a couple little. No, you gotta be better. We're not even picking you. But here's my next guy, Denzel Ward. Man, listen, man. I know there might be some different things around here too. I need you to, if you want to be known as one of these dudes that's locking everything down. Somebody asked me, how is it, G. Bush, how could a corner be dominant? I'm like, you ain't see Darrelle Revis couldn't even throw over there. And great corners will bait you to throw over there, and you'll waste your half your game plan throwing to your number 1 receiver because you think he open or you want to get him involved. Go back and watch the game where we threw the ball 100 times to OBJ and Marlon Humphrey had him locked all the way up, couldn't get open, knocked him out of his shoes. Yeah, corners can be dominant too. I need something from Denzel Ward. You in a contract year, bro. I need you to give something. And he won $100 million.
Look at Jalen Ramsey in this past game. He was targeted 4 times, gave up 1 catch, 7 yards, had a game clinching interception.
But let's get to this cat. I'm not even gonna lie. You gotta come back and do something. I don't want you to be no hero, but you gotta come back and show something, dog. Odell Beckham Jr., you the X factor offensively. You might be the difference between why this team win this week or lose this week. And I'm gonna just keep it real with you. Before, if you would have came back and Jarvis was here and the complimented players and everybody is good, listen, don't be believing what these cats is telling you. Oh, just do your no. You might listen, you Odell Beckham Jr., bro. Did you see what Julio Jones did? Did you see what Julio Jones? He don't know Ryan Tannehill from me and John Kosko. He goes out there and gets it done. He's in a new place. You might want to go turn that back on, bro. Dye your hair, grow it out, put extensions in it. Whatever you need to do, I'll pay for the fines for the Joker shoes. Whatever you got to do to get your mind together and get out there and play, please do that because you are the X factor in this game. I'll say this. By the way, where do you think does he get? What do you think his stat line is in this game?
8 catches for 115 yards and a touchdown. That's
Dang,
what he needs.
Kosko?
That's what he needs to do.
Dang, you got him for the 8-piece? The 8-piece, 8-piece for 115 and a tutty? That's crazy. Like off the
Go for
right
it.
now?
Oh yeah, just go for it. This got to go all out.
I'll take it. I'll take that joint. All right, let's get to our final predictions of the game, man. Listen, like I said, I don't feel good about this game. If I don't like hedging either, but if OBJ don't play, I don't feel good about it. But even if he do play, I think this is a very close game. Browns are coming off the victory. I'm gonna say Browns win it by 3. Low scoring affair, points at a premium, 24-21. And that 24 come late too. That's a late joint. Like it ain't like they had 21 up. I think this is a low scoring affair. I think it's going to be hard to move the ball. And if they don't get them, like you said, out of 3-4 and into nickel, into some passing situations, I think it's going to be tough running the football with the defensive line they got over in Chicago. I think this is going to be a really good game.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is going to be, for whatever reason, the markets have this as a 7-point favorite for the Browns. I think that's a bit of a stretch.
Absurd.
I'll put it at I'd say 23-17 Browns, and I think the Bears win the spread.
23-17 Browns.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. I think maybe Bears are going to have it at the end of the game, and Browns defense is finally going to step it up or something. I don't know. That's what
Troy Hill, let me get a pick too. Your grade is kind of nasty on your grade kind of nasty too.
Yeah. Troy, the grades, like I said, the grades for the secondary are not good right now. I do think they're going to turn it around though. I really think that I just can't see those guys who have played really well for so long in this league to just all of a sudden forget how to play.
As always, I'll tell you what, man. As always, please hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We will be back. Oh, by the way, we didn't do it this time, but thanks to you guys out there, you have got us our first 2 sponsorships, and we want to thank y'all out there for supporting us with the views. We got 2 sponsorships that we're going to unveil the next on our next preview show. So thank you guys for entertaining us, being here, supporting us, doing that. So we'll unveil that next week. As always, you could always support the channel. You can support us on Cash App. You can see that as up there as well. We also set PayPal, and you could do super chats as well if you guys catch that here on YouTube as well. So for G. Bush, for John Kosko, signing off. Go Browns. We hope we're going to get this dub against the Bears. It is the Browns Preview Show on the Barbershop Network. Peace.